So there's a couple stories I wanted to, like a few stories I wanted to talk about. Um, so the first one is I didn't know too much about this Trevor Kirk thing, and I looked it up. Did you get a chance to look it up?
Yeah, I looked it up that day that you brought it to my attention.
Okay, so I looked it up that day, and it's funny because like the news stories aren't super accurate, right? Which is shocking. Um,
That's accurate. That they're not accurate.
so so Trevor Kirk, he's a deputy in Southern California, and he was responding to a robbery. I mean, you know I missed this, so I'm pretty sure a lot of other people missed this as well. But he was responding to a robbery. He basically responded to it, went there, and the lady was recording, had her phone out. Um, he knew her as the suspect. That it was a robbery, a male and female. The female had already hit people at the store, and I think spit on people, something like that. Um, so he's a deputy showing
Yep.
up into a tense situation, right? To a hostile situation. Um, you know, Probably doesn't know what's fully going on, what sort of threat level there is. They don't find out until they get there. So, he basically, the woman gets handled, right? She gets pepper sprayed, and now he's being charged with violation of civil right laws. So basically, I guess because she was recording, um, he violated the First Amendment, her First Amendment, and then because he detained her and pepper sprayed her, he violated the Fourth Amendment, which is what is it? Fourth Amendment due process. I'm on blank right now, but he supposedly violated that stuff. So he's facing 10 years. So his case to I think to move on and see if he will get sentenced is on the 21st. They're hoping that the judge just drops the case, but I don't know. I think it's crazy because I was looking up like how long would, let's say, if, because at the time that law wasn't in place, where it was where if you stole over 900 or under $900, you basically you're let go. So it was during that time. Um, and even if they were to have gotten charged with something and let's say sentenced, the most they could get is like 6 months and some fines. So you know it's crazy because this guy doing his job as a police officer responds, and then he ends up with potentially getting a sentence of 10 years over a crime. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's happening here in California. Like, what do you guys think about that? I thought it was, I think to me it's like just that comparison about, like, okay, let's say if they would have charged these people with the crime, they would have got 6 months if they got locked up max. And the cop that's responding to it, even if they say he's too rough, let's whatever, 10 years, like I don't, yeah, that's excessive. I feel like it's just okay. They're trying to make an example out of him. That's kind of where my mind goes.
Yeah. But I think the way that I found out about it and I looked into it is a perfect example. And I'll explain why. So you through text you sent the group chat about this case, right?
Hmm.
I hadn't heard anything about it or anything like that, right?
Yeah, me either.
So I said I'm gonna look into it. I type it in on the phone, a couple of videos pop up. I watch the videos. If I watch the videos, I do see, the male being apprehended, and it seems like everything's going okay. He's cooperating, he's not resisting arrest or anything like that. Then they go towards the woman. The woman's recording, right?
Hmm.
And they take her down, they slam her on the floor, and they're trying to put her in handcuffs. They're trying to apprehend her. So initially, the way that the video was being laid out in the broadcasters, because it was a clip off of a news station, the way that they were explaining everything, it looked like they were just going after an innocent bystander that
Mm-hmm.
happened to be recording the incident with the male.
Mm-hmm.
Then I get the important details that the police officers were responding to a call, a robbery in progress, theft in progress, or however you say it, at a supermarket. And the lady was getting physical. One of the suspect, it was a female and a male, and the female was getting physical with some of the staff at the supermarket. With that tidbit of information, now I can see why they went after the lady to apprehend her, to arrest her, because she
Mm-hmm.
was a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that it was being presented and the way that I saw the video originally without knowing that information, it looked like they were going after a woman that was recording the incident.
Mm-hmm.
Without those important details, and what a coincidence that it always happens this way, is that
Mm-hmm.
when you get all the details, then it makes sense why they were trying to arrest her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the way that she was responding like an innocent bystander, like she didn't do anything wrong.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Jackson be there.
Or
Okay.
L. Sharpton or whatever his name
No,
is.
did I get it confused?
Yeah,
They're
Jesse
the
Jackson is
same
from
thing.
way back, but
It's Jesse.
Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Um, no, I mean, and that's what when I had said when we started talking about this was how the news stories weren't accurate. It's because every news story does paint it as innocent bystander that got thrown down and maced or I mean or pepper sprayed whatever. But it's like, dude, like the problem too is people think that okay, yeah, you have a right to record, fine, fucking take your camera out, record, do what you want to do. But let's
I
say she
suggest
was,
something.
yeah, yeah,
The, the officers have body cam. I saw
yeah,
one video with body cam, and
mm-hmm,
then the other video was from the lady's phone.
mm-hmm,
I mean, they could suspect that it's off or whatever the case may be, but we live in the day and age where if she
hmm,
wasn't recording, someone else was recording, or a video camera
yeah, yeah,
was
yeah,
recording somewhere else.
yeah,
But the point that we can't lose sight of is there was two suspect, a female and a male.
mm-hmm,
She was a suspect.
yeah, yeah.
That changes everything.
No, yeah, for sure, for sure. But what I'm saying is like how they paint it as innocent bystander, even though she
Mhm,
wasn't.
mhm,
It's like let's say she was right. It's like the way that she was interacting with the police officer. If she was just an innocent bystander, it's like she's antagonizing. She's making the situation worse. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Just because
mhm.
you're recording, you have the right to record, doesn't give you the right to be an asshole and make the situation worse. So if you're gonna record for whatever reason, right? If you think something bad's gonna happen and you want to fucking record, stay back. Don't get in the way. If you're not a suspect, don't get in the way.
Well, you said the key word because it's like you're a suspect and you're like, hold on, let me record this.
Yeah, you should bounce, lady. What are
Yeah,
you talking about?
yeah. But I just think again, he's responding to the call, robbery in progress. He's doing his job. You know, um, what else was he supposed to do? Because
Well,
so, go ahead.
well, just what kind of how does this doesn't look good? We need cops as much as some people hate to say it. We do need them, and would you want to be a cop if you
Mhm,
might get 10 years for slamming a suspect down?
mhm.
After she already spit on somebody.
And
Um,
oh, and here's the other thing I was told because I was talking to a friend that is following it closer than we are. Um, when they had that initial trial, Trevor Kirk had a lot of local PD, local deputies, people that police the community, you know, sitting behind him, supporting him. And, one of the key things is this case was brought up with Biden's DOJ. And, from what I was told is the people that were on that side were all new FBI agents showing support for
Get on it,
punishing this
Cash.
guy. So yeah, Cash, you know,
Get on it, Cash.
Bill Asaley, he's the new U.S. Uh, helping out here in California. Look into that, Trump, whatever. But my point is, like, they got random federal agents to support this prosecution,
Mhm.
and all the local police that police that community were in support of Trevor. So yeah, I think to me that says a lot too. And again, you know, the sentence that they're trying to pin him with 10 years max, I think that's excessive. I mean, even honestly, dude, even if he was wrong, even if she was an innocent bystander, 10 years, that's
Is she
that's
getting charged
crazy.
with something? Are they getting charged with anything?
Probably not. No, I don't think they got charged with anything because the laws were a little different. We
Oh,
changed
this
that.
is.
This is
Mm.
prior to voting for, that change
Mhm.
in theft. Um, but I hope this guy gets a fair trial. You know what I mean? I hope they don't, you know, I hope they don't send him to prison for 10 years. I hope that if that sentence does go through, other people, like you were saying, Cash, Trump, whoever, because it is a federal thing, I guess,
Bandy.
um, you know, help this guy out because, again, even if he was absolutely wrong, even if he did that and it was really a bystander,
Sometimes we slam people.
10 years is way too much. That's that sounds like bullshit to me. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm be paying attention to it, and the guy has a family. Even like I said, even if it was, doesn't sound like he made a mistake. But like, just give him, let's say, play what do you call it? Was it
Devil's
devil's
advocate.
advocate or whatever?
Mhm.
And let's say it was. Let's say he fucked up, dude. 10 years. Like, still, does that sound fair to you?
Well, maybe they should get that judge that got that Carmelo Anthony guy cut by 75%. That we get him that judge. We might see some action.
Maybe, but that's kind of my one of my biggest issues with this too. It's just what they're trying to throw at him.
Look, there's several different issues going on right here. The way that it's being reported, that's number one. Um, the way that it's being handled um, by the judge, right?
Hmm.
The sentencing or the trial period. So that's number two. And this is number three, is that when people get caught up in these types of movements, okay, and I'm going to call it a movement because they're trying to make a point. It was a white officer arresting um,
Hmm.
African American couple. It looked like they were a couple. When they get caught up on that and they make a big commotion about this, they're ruining lives. And I'm going to tell you what lives they're ruining. Number one, you said it. The officer has a family. Okay. It's
Hmm.
going to ruin that family. Okay. People don't think about that. They don't think about the consequences. They don't think about the him, his siblings, mother, father, everybody on his side. Not only that, wife. Okay. I already said the kids.
Hmm.
Now community. The community is going to suffer because they're down an officer. That officer has to be replaced by someone else. Christian, you said it. Who's going to want to be an officer? if that happens to you.
Not the
So
best.
exactly. So now you need to fill a position that you can't fill a position because there, police officers are being judged in a way where they shouldn't even have to worry about. Yes, they have to conduct themselves professionally. They have to follow the rule of law because they are protecting the rule of law, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no one's going to want to take that job. Now, if you have, and that's how the community is going to suffer and is suffering, no one's going to want to do their job. So, check this out. This is the other side to it. If we want to get even deeper to it, this is going to embolden people to not follow the law
Mm-hmm.
even more. And
Mm-hmm.
that's been happening the past 4 years with the Biden administration. No law and order. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have someone in the family that's going to be a police officer. Now, their family, specifically wife and kids, mother, father, siblings, all of the family are going to worry about him or her
Mm-hmm.
going out and just doing their regular job because maybe when they do their job and didn't do anything wrong, they end up with a sentence of 10 years.
Mm.
So if you're one of those people that are blindly, just because your side is saying that this is wrong and he messed up, that's what you're advocating. All of those things happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when people do things like this and they support things like this, they have no idea the ripple effect that they're causing. And I don't know, I don't want to call them stupid, but they're just so short-sighted that they can't see those effects. It even comes back around to them.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it to you this way. So that couple, right, that was getting apprehended,
Shit.
they probably live in that community or near that community. If they get assaulted or their house gets broken into and they need a police officer to go into their house and protect them because of their BS, there's not going to be someone there to protect them. There's going to be someone like where I live, and they could be firing firearms in a distance for 2 hours nonstop, and police officers don't even want to go over there because they don't want to deal with that because of things like this. I I mowed my lawn, I pulled the weeds, um, I mowed the neighbor's lawn, I did all kinds of other stuff, and throughout that whole time, firearms were going off, fireworks, firearms, it was like a symphony going off the entire time I was doing that. But there's no law and order. That's what people are advocating for. And I don't want to hear not one of them complaining that police officers don't do anything, and when they're called out, they don't go out, they don't help anybody or anything like that, because that's what you were advocating. That's what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It's the promoting of lawlessness. You know, you've seen, I forget, I don't know if it was in our group chat or somewhere, but I saw that, if I think business owners, if their business gets graffitied or something like that, they get a fine of 15, $18,000. But the person graffitiing, they'll get a fine of like 500, $800. You know, that's that can't be. That can't
Mm-hmm.
be. Because that is promoting lawlessness. Who are you charging? Who are you coming after? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I saw that the people that were getting vandalized are being fined more than the people actually doing the vandalism. And that's the kind of shit we deal with here in California, right?
Don't cry on
With
me,
these
Daniel. I
cities.
know it's hard.
No, I think it's in Oakland. I don't live in Oakland. So um but that's just how fucking backwards things are. And
Mhm.
People have gotten to that point. It's crazy, but you know, we'll see. We'll stay on top of this story. We'll follow it, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, they're able to kind of come to their senses, have some little common sense, um, hit them in the face, and this guy doesn't have to get sent away for
Slam
10
them.
years for trying to do his job. So we'll see how that all plays out.